You spend hours in front of the screen immersed in a virtual world, but have you ever wondered who might be watching you from the real one? For some games that seem completely harmless have led them into the most terrifying experiences of their lives. From strangers suddenly showing up after a match ends, to encounters you thought only existed inside the screen until they came knocking on your door. These are 3 true stories told by those who survived the nightmare that came from the world of gaming. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and get ready to face something far scarier than any boss you've ever battled a real person in the real world. Story 1. The figure sitting on the bed. I was 17 when this happened. I lived with my parents in Chandler, Arizona, quiet neighborhood, good side of town, the kind of place where nothing ever really happens. At least, that's what I used to think. It was a Friday night. My parents were out of town, and I had the house to myself. I'd just finished errands. My mom asked me to do some grocery shopping, basic stuff. In return, they left me cash and the promise of a quiet weekend alone. That night, I booted up my PC and got on Call of Duty Black Ops with my best friend Johnny. We were both deep in our gaming phase, and I'd planned to spend all night grinding XP, maybe hit Prestige. A couple of hours in, I took a break to make dinner. While boiling pasta downstairs, I thought I heard something, just a faint thud from upstairs. I stopped chewing and froze. It sounded like a footstep, but I brushed it off. Houses make noises, right? It's nothing. Still, something tugged at the back of my mind, so I walked to the front door and locked it. Really locked it this time. I usually didn't. We lived in a good area, and I never thought about break-ins. It's the kind of thing you see in the news, not in your own house. I went back upstairs, back to my room. I called out Tristan, my brother's name, even though I knew he wasn't home. No answer. Just silence. I put my headset back on, texted Johnny, and we jumped back into a few rounds of team deathmatch. Sometime during the 3rd game, I caught movement in my peripheral vision. My bedroom door was slightly open like I always left it, but something about the hallway felt off. The darkness beyond the door looked thicker, like it was swallowing the light from my room. I didn't think much of it at first, until Johnny said he was stepping away to use the bathroom. While waiting in the lobby, I glanced at my phone, then looked back toward the door, and that's when I realized something had changed. I could see into the hallway now. The pitch-black gap that was there just minutes ago was gone. The light was returning. Instinctively, I turned around and froze. There was a man sitting on my bed. He was perfectly still, perfectly upright, with both hands resting on his thighs. His posture, unnatural, almost staged. He looked like he'd been sitting there a while. He wasn't startled. He didn't flinch. He just smiled. I jumped back so fast I slammed into my desk, knocking over my monitor and half the setup. I scrambled onto the desk, eyes locked on him, heart thundering in my chest. "What do you want?" I screamed. That's when his smile widened. And then he spoke slowly, almost playfully. "I just want to play too." His voice was calm, almost amused. That's when I noticed he was holding something in his hand. My headset. The one I had taken off moments earlier. My legs moved before my brain did. I bolted out of the room, down the hallway, skipping steps as I flew down the stairs. I grabbed the landline phone with one hand and a kitchen knife with the other. I yelled up, "I'm calling the cops. Get out." I heard footsteps on the stairs. Then, silence. And then I saw him walking past the kitchen toward the front door. He glanced at me as he opened it, and smiled. He stepped outside and disappeared into the night. I slammed the door shut and locked it. For the first time in my life, I regretted ever thinking we were safe just because we lived in a nice neighborhood. I called my parents. My mom panicked. My dad told me to check if anything had been taken. But everything was still there. Nothing was missing. No broken windows. No forced entry. Just that man, sitting on my bed, holding my headset. And the scariest part, I don't know how long he had been there. Maybe he followed me home from the store. Maybe he'd already been inside the house while I was cooking. Or maybe he was already there watching me game, watching me laugh, watching me yell into my mic thinking he was part of it. I just want to play too. Those words haven't left my mind since. And now every time I hear a faint noise upstairs, I wonder, what if this time he comes back? Story 2. Medusa wasn't Teresa. When I was 13, I played this online MMORPG called Ganu. Think of it like RuneScape, but weirder. Pixel monsters, endless grinding, and hundreds of players online at any time. It became a second home to me, and where I thought I met my first girlfriend. Her username was Medusa. She was funny, smart, higher level than me too, which was oddly attractive at that age. We messaged in-game every time I logged in. Then we started messaging outside of it. First on the forums, then through this texting app I downloaded on my iPod Touch. Her real name, she said, was Teresa. She told me she was 15, lived about an hour away, also in New York. We talked about our towns, our siblings, our favorite movies. She even sent me a photo of herself, a slightly grainy selfie. Long dark hair, soft smile braces. She looked real. I was hooked. It didn't take long before we started flirting. Teen romance, cringy maybe, but it felt exciting. Then one day she asked if she could visit me. I froze. No girl had ever asked to visit me, especially not one I hadn't even spoken to on the phone. But she was persistent. She said her sister had friends who lived near me and she could get a ride. She'd be dropped off and picked up later, no big deal. I told her my parents were going out of town that Saturday. If she wanted to come by, that would be the time. I gave her my address. Big mistake. Saturday arrived. I spent the whole day nervous, cleaning my room, practicing how I'd say hi, fixing my hair in the mirror like a complete dork. Around 9 p.m. she texted, "I'm outside." My heart pounded. I ran to the door and looked through the peephole. Nothing. Street was quiet. No cars. No girl. I texted, "I don't see you." She replied, "Oops. Wrong house maybe. Give me a minute." Weird. But okay. 10 minutes later, I'm here. Come outside. This time I didn't move. I texted, "Ring the doorbell so I know it's you." Ding dong. I stepped to the door again and looked through the peephole. Still, no one. Then knock, knock, knock. I froze. A hand, reaching into view. Then a voice. "Hey Joey, it's Medusa, from Ghana. Can we talk?" But the voice, it wasn't hers. It was deeper. Male. Croaky. I backed away from the door. My stomach twisted. I didn't scream. I couldn't. I ran to my room, locked the door, and grabbed the house phone. I texted my older brother, who was out for the night. "Come home. Now." Teresa isn't Teresa. He's at our house. I turned off the lights and peeked through the blinds. Outside my window was a short, bald man, just standing there, hands pressed against the glass, peering in. He knocked gently and whispered, "I just wanted to see you. We have a connection. We could be friends." I said nothing. My phone vibrated. It was him still texting me through the app, saying how sorry he was for pretending, but that I'd understand if I gave him a chance. I wanted to throw up. My brother arrived 10 minutes later with 3 of his friends. They confronted the guy on our lawn. The man insisted it was all a misunderstanding, Said he was concerned I was inviting strangers from online. I stepped out, voice shaking, and asked him, "Then why were you at my bedroom window?" He didn't answer. He got in his car and sped off, but not before my brother smashed one of his taillights with a rock. We never saw him again. But I still remember that voice, that moment, the terrifying realization that someone I had trusted, someone I had shared personal things with, was never who they said they were. He knew my age, my face, my address, and he came anyway. Story 3. The in-game opponent who showed up at my door. This happened recently, like weeks ago. I had just quit Fortnite, burned out bored. My friend Brandon convinced me to install Apex Legends again. I was terrible at it, but I didn't care. It was something to do. So I logged in headset on lights off. Full immersion. My parents were out for dinner late anniversary or something. My older brother was staying at a friend's. So yeah, I was alone. About an hour into playing, Brandon said something weird. "Dude, I just got a text from some random number. It says, 'Look out your window.'" I chuckled. Creepy. "What window?" He said. "Not mine. Yours." I paused, slowly turned my head to the left, then to the right. There are 5 windows in my room. Most of them were blocked by my monitors or curtains, except one. And in that one, I saw him. A man, standing in my backyard, facing away from the house. Still, not moving. My heart dropped. Brandon's voice returned. He just sent me a photo of you, looking at him. I didn't even respond. I stared at the man outside. Then my party chat disconnected. Brandon was still online in Apex, but his mic was gone. A new party invite appeared from his account. I clicked accept. A different voice came through, deep, unfamiliar. "Come outside, or I'm coming in." I yanked off my headset. Outside, the man turned, walked toward my window. His face was blood red, his hands dripping. He slammed both fists against the glass over and over. My phone was nearly dead, 1% battery. I grabbed it anyway, dialed 911. "Someone's trying to break in. He's bleeding. His face is wrong." Then the glass cracked. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, ran upstairs with the house phone, hid in my parents' bathroom, locked the door. I thought he'd think the house was empty. But then I heard the stairs, heavy footsteps. He was coming up. I heard him stop outside the bedroom. And then, sirens. He bolted. I heard him crash through the front door. I ran down, knife still in hand, just in time to see police officers slam him to the ground. Turns out, he was someone I'd killed in Apex earlier that night. We'd had some words in the lobby. He somehow got my IP, my address, my friend's phone number. He took the game, personally. Some people rage quit. Some throw their controller. Others show up at your house. The world of gaming always gives you a sense of control. You can shoot, dodge, leave the match. But when the game spills out of the screen, you're no longer the one in control. The people you come across in-game, no one really knows who's behind the keyboard or how far they're willing to go. Be careful what you share and who you talk to. And remember, not every enemy shows up on your radar. If you enjoy true scary stories like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next nightmare.